The Cambodian Genocide, 1975–1979. The Cambodian Genocide, orchestrated by the Khmer Rouge regime under the leadership of Pol Pot, stands as a chilling example of ideological extremism and crimes against humanity. This staggering atrocity claimed the lives of 1.7 to 2 million people, nearly a quarter of Cambodia's population at the time, leaving a legacy of horror, loss, and resilience. For history students, this episode serves as both a case study of unchecked radicalism and a solemn reminder of the importance of awareness and intervention to prevent similar tragedies. This campaign of terror, fueled by a radical vision to create an agrarian utopia, transformed Cambodia into a dystopian nightmare, erasing its modernity, culture, and population. It is vital to critically examine not just the events, but the conditions that enabled them, as well as the lessons humanity must carry forward to safeguard against future genocides. The seeds of Cambodia's tragedy were sown through political instability and international turmoil. As a former French colony, Cambodia gained independence in 1953, but struggled to establish stable governance. The shadow of the Vietnam War darkened its skies as U.S. bombing campaigns, 1969–1973, targeting Viet Cong supply routes, spilled into Cambodian villages, killing thousands and causing widespread resentment. This destruction deeply destabilized rural communities, creating fertile ground for discontent. The Khmer Rouge, a radical communist guerrilla group led by Pol Pot, capitalized on this discontent. Presenting themselves as saviors from governmental corruption and foreign interference, they gained support, particularly among rural populations. By April 17, 1975, they seized Phnom Penh, overthrowing Lon Nol's US-backed government. But this victory would initiate one of the darkest periods in world history. History students must critically analyze how socio-political turmoil and external interventions can enable extremist regimes to rise. In an unusual and horrifying proclamation, the Khmer Rouge declared 1975 as Year Zero, aiming to erase Cambodia's cultural and historical identity in favor of a new utopian agrarian society. Religion, education, and technology were labeled as bourgeois evils. Overnight, modern Cambodia was obliterated, and with it, familial ties, education, and lives. Urban centers were emptied. Citizens of all ages, including the infirm and children, were forcibly marched into the countryside to undertake grueling labor. Families were often separated. In these camps, long hours of toil were met with starvation and punishments. Food rations were so minimal that people resorted to eating whatever they could scavenge. For history students, these forced evacuations highlight the systematic nature of oppression and the inhumanity of totalitarian regimes. The Khmer Rouge created a society based on fear, where intellectuals, professionals, artists, ethnic minorities, such as Vietnamese and Cham Muslims, and even religious leaders were branded enemies of the state. Executions were carried out for acts as trivial as wearing glasses or speaking in a foreign language. By analyzing this targeting of the educated class and certain minorities, one can recognize the ideological roots of mass atrocities. Small acts of defiance or any perceived opposition were met with death. Execution sites, later memorialized as the killing fields, became synonymous with terror. Victims were frequently killed with crude methods like bludgeoning to conserve ammunition. The infamous Cheong Ek killing fields stand as a haunting reminder of these massacres. Facilities such as Tuol Sleng S21 prison became symbols of inhumanity. This converted school served as a torture and execution center. Of the roughly 20,000 prisoners held there, only a handful survived. Survivors' accounts lay bare the cruel efficiency of Khmer Rouge interrogation, offering a deeply personal perspective into institutionalized terror. Starvation levels across the countryside led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. Denied adequate rations, individuals were forced to consume insects, grass, and leaves to survive. Overwork and the absence of healthcare further claimed countless lives. For those studying this atrocity, these methods of control and oppression reveal the tragic interplay between radical ideology and human suffering. By 1978, tensions between Cambodia and Vietnam reached a breaking point, with the Khmer Rouge launching attacks on Vietnamese border regions. Vietnam responded in December 1978, invading Cambodia and capturing Phnom Penh on January 7, 1979. This military intervention toppled Pol Pot's regime and established the People's Republic of Kampuchea. However, relief was far from immediate. The Khmer Rouge retreated to rural strongholds and continued a guerrilla campaign for years, leaving Cambodia to grapple with devastation, displacement, and lingering terror. It would take decades for the Khmer Rouge to fully disband. Internal divisions and the death of Pol Pot in 1998 marked the regime's gradual collapse. Yet the long shadow they cast over Cambodia endured. The delayed disbandment calls attention to the challenges of dismantling extremist groups even after losing formal control. The Khmer Rouge decimated Cambodia's population, leaving lasting scars on the nation's psyche. Families were destroyed, entire communities were wiped out, and countless survivors remained traumatized. The loss extended beyond human lives. Libraries were burned, temples vandalized, and historical artifacts destroyed in an attempt to erase Cambodia's cultural memory. For history students, this cultural destruction invites critical reflection on how extremists seek to erase the past to shape the future. Cambodia's story is also a testament to the resilience of its people, striving to preserve remnants of their heritage despite profound loss. Justice for the genocide's victims was slow but necessary. The Khmer Rouge Tribunal, established only in 2003, sentenced key leaders such as Kaing Guek Eav, Duch, and Nuon Chea for crimes against humanity. However, Pol Pot escaped trial, leaving many crimes unanswered. Analyzing the achievements and limitations of such tribunals sheds light on global mechanisms for accountability, reminding history students of the often delayed pursuit of justice. Equally, it underscores the importance of international commitment to hold perpetrators accountable. The Khmer Rouge's policies destroyed institutions and infrastructure, leaving Cambodia struggling to recover. Education and health systems were virtually non-existent, requiring significant rebuilding efforts. Generations were left in poverty, with survivors unable to fully escape the shadows of displacement and trauma. For students, understanding these long-term effects provides valuable insights into the lingering aftershocks of genocides. Cambodia has worked to ensure the lessons of its tragedy are not forgotten. Memorials such as the Chung Ek Killing Fields and the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum offer stark and profound reflections on this dark history. April 17th, the day Phnom Penh fell to the Khmer Rouge, is commemorated annually to honor victims. For students and future advocates, initiatives like these emphasize the power of memory in promoting healing and awareness, serving as a bulwark against denial and neglect. The Cambodian Genocide exposes the dangers of radical ideology, power unchecked by accountability, and international indifference. It has spurred global debates on the need for timely interventions in cases of genocide and crimes against humanity. By studying this event, history students can reflect on how the world must balance sovereignty with moral responsibility to protect populations at risk. The Cambodian Genocide, 1975–1979, remains one of the darkest chapters in modern history. Pol Pot's obsessive pursuit of a classless agrarian society inflicted unfathomable suffering, depleting Cambodia's population and cultural heritage. Nevertheless, Cambodia has demonstrated remarkable resilience, striving toward recovery and reconciliation. For history students, this episode holds critical lessons, not just about humanity's capacity for cruelty, but also about its resilience and the importance of collective accountability. By understanding and remembering this tragedy, future generations can work to prevent similar atrocities, ensuring that the triumph of humanity prevails over the shadows of its darkest pasts.